everyone, and welcome to another episode of How the Hell Is This My Life? I'm your host, Kiki Carroll,
And I'm your host, Asha Brown.
and we are in what I like to call the Hail Mary zone, but I'm ready to party. I don't know if you're ready to party, but we have 5 days until your New York City bridal shower.
Need to party with the best of
Mm,
them.
mm, 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 mm.
No doubt.
I feel like some people aren't going to know what that is, and they're missing out, and also do your research.
Yeah, if you don't know where that's from, like, I'm ashamed of you. Find it. Just find it.
You can go off into the corner with people who don't like pumpkin.
Right. Oh,
You're in that group of
I'm
people.
pumpkin spice all year round.
And then also, I feel like I have to acknowledge the fact that I'm in the corner. Like I'm like ready to party in my corner because I'm not in front of my normal like beautiful green wall, but that's because I live in a very tiny, tiny New York City apartment, which is bigger than some people's tiny apartment, but still tiny by all other standards. And currently, because I am in party planning mode, my apartment looks like a boxing warehouse, like a maze. There's no safe space. And so, for purposes of confidentiality, I'm in the corner, partying in the corner.
You've done a great job of the confidentiality, that's for sure.
We're not going to lose it just because of the podcast.
I can't. I feel like sometimes when you, like, if you really think about just like the size of the spaces that we live in New York, like, I'm not gonna lie, best city in the world, love it here, moved here for a reason. My heart, like, it breaks my heart to even think of like moving out of New York City, but like, it is actually kind of like masochism. Like what we do to ourselves, like the spaces we live in, like, why would you want to live in a closet? Like you could barely fit a bed in. It's ridiculous. And like, I feel like my apartment has always done me great justice. And I've always been like, such a great size, right? Until a man moved in here. And now there's two of us. And I have to live with a boy. And not only do I have to live with a boy, but that boy got COVID. And so I'm just like, what the heck do we do? We would have been screwed if this was like a studio apartment. Some couples have studio apartments. Like, thank God that we have a 1-bedroom. So like, he was quarantined in the bedroom. I was quarantined out here so that I could stay safe because I was negative and he was positive. So that was a situation. Also, there is definitely something called caretakers fatigue, like caregivers fatigue.
I
like
believe that.
I had to like make all his food because I don't want him up in the kitchen touching everything. I had to, he's like, babe, I'm hungry. Like a slave in there. Just like the poor child. But at the same time, like, I'm also like annoyed because I'm like working from home, trying to do calls and stuff. But I'm also like, I have to make him breakfast. I have to make him something to eat. The poor kid's going to starve.
Right.
I had to like put on a mask to give him his food, and he had to put on a mask, and he would be like, I feel like a prisoner. It's really crazy. And I just can't imagine like people who live in like normal sized houses, like, would have been so much easier. But no.
Okay, but this is what I'm curious about. I'm glad you started talking about this because I got a question. So, like, when you had to go to the bathroom, like, how do you handle that? Like,
So you know me, I'm already a germaphobe. COVID, no COVID, I'm a crazy person, which is probably why, even though he's now had it what we think is twice, I still have not gotten COVID because I'm a germaphobe. So basically, I had like, my Clorox spray. And every single time he would go to the bathroom, I would put on my mask, go behind him. After he goes back in the room, I would put on my mask, go behind him, spray the door handle, spray the inside door handle, spray the cabinets, spray the toilet edge, spray the whole toilet seat, the knob. Yeah, the light switch. It was a situation. I was like, this is a lot.
This is like being a prisoner because then he's like, I have to go pee. I have to eat. I need water.
Like literally like sliding his food in. At one point he asked for a charger and I like slid it under the door. It was quite funny. We probably should have documented it, but
did he have like because some people can have it and yeah, you quarantine, but you're pretty asymptomatic. So it's
the crazy thing is that I think my hypothesis is that when we found out he had COVID, I think that was probably towards the end of end of it like really affecting him anyway, because his symptoms really started like on what I would say is like Saturday or Sunday, and we got tested on Thursday. And we were surprised when it came back positive, because like he had just been sneezing, like sinus, like allergy stuff, like sneezing, stuffy nose. And he kept saying to me, he was like, I don't understand how you live like this, because I have allergies and I'm always sniffling and sneezing. And so
Right.
he's like, how do you do this? So he just thought that he had a cold. So
Right.
we went to get tested, and we did the rapid test, and I did both, but like I got my results were negative, and they called him. So when they called him and we were in the car, and I was like, oh no, they only call you when it's bad
Right.
news. So we were kind of surprised that his sneeze and sniffle was COVID. But we also think that he had it in the beginning of quarantine, like in the beginning of COVID, like a year ago. And so
Right.
I think that his body is responded to it differently because he's already gone through it. Or B, it was like a different strain.
Yeah. I'm glad he's feeling better though. I'm glad that like he's negative again and he's feeling better.
I'm glad his symptoms weren't worse, because men when they're sick is just, nobody wants that. They act like toddlers. It's ridiculous. So I'm glad he just had a little sneezy sneeze.
Said it. You said, so what did you do though? Like, because you weren't working the whole time. So what did you do? Because like were you like gonna sit outside of his door and just be like, do you want to build a snowman, or are you like watching TV? Like, what were you doing during quarantine?
Let me tell you something. I got me a really good introvert time, because we know I'm an introvert and like I can be extroverted, but I do need a little refresh time. And so I actually got to do that. I got to get some wedding stuff done, specifically these dang invites that I've mentioned on this podcast before, these invites that needed to get here. Like they actually came like right before all of this happened. And so like I could like, we had to go through all of the, like I had to finalize like kind of the labeling and all that stuff and figure it out. So by the time he came out of quarantine, he could help me to like, we had to assemble everything, we had to label everything. And so they have officially left the building.
Nice.
And I am very happy about that. But also they're so pretty and I'm so obsessed with them. I can't wait for you to get yours.
I feel like I should get mine fairly quickly since I live around the block. Like USPS don't play with me.
That is true. Pretty much
Don't play with me.
all the bridesmaids except for matron of honor. I feel like
Right.
all of us are relatively close-ish. So
Yeah. I'm excited to get it. I'm excited to get it. I feel like that's always a good feeling whenever you get like the little indications that whether you're sending them out or you see people, like it made me feel so happy when people were like taping that they got theirs, and I was like, oh my god, okay, like it's happening, all right. And then you try and like hold on to that sense of enthusiasm, and then when like people don't RSVP right away, it's harder to hold on to that enthusiasm.
Yeah.
I got an email today from our wedding coordinator, and it was like one of those friendly reminder emails. And it was like, hey, just reminding you that your food choices for the reception are due on the 24th, and we just need kind of like an estimate of the head count, what we think the final head count is going to be. And we also, around that same time, we knew that for the rehearsal dinner, we had to finalize the dinner options for those going to the rehearsal dinner so that the restaurant could prepare. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, the 24th, you got it. And then I was like, oh, the 24th is like next week. It's like that crept up on me quickly. I felt very like not prepared. I was at work when I got that email. So on my lunch break, I'm like, I'm like going through the RSVP list, and I'm literally text messaging people links to the wedding website. Like, can you please RSVP? Can you RSVP? Do you want me to RSVP for you? Like,
right.
because also too, the I think some people think, oh, I'm just gonna tell you, and that's gonna be fine. But a lot of people don't understand that there's other things that go into it. So like for us, one, if you've got song choices that you'd like to be played, I love that. We have as an option when you RSVP. And so I want you to put down what your song request is. And I need to have time to give that to the DJ so that he can create a playlist that like covers all the things that we want, but also makes our guests happy. But on top of that, we are doing not a well, we haven't decided 100% between plated or buffet, which the buffet is still served to you because of COVID. Um, but I want to make sure that people are happy with what they're eating. I want to make sure that the options are good, but I also want to make sure that I know how many people have, an aversion to pork, or how many people have an allergy to nuts and or shellfish, or how many people have gluten like tolerance issues. We've got couple people that have that. And so when you RSVP, it calls for you to fill that in. And then that helps. It's like, I can do that, but then don't complain if I RSVP for you and then you get there and you can't eat bacon and I got bacon all over the place. That wasn't my fault.
I don't understand. And I feel like it's something that I've learned so much over the years, just in general, like throwing events. Like we both love to host things. I'm just like, why don't people understand the importance of an RSVP? So on my invites, I put an actual like hard date, like
right.
No exceptions will be made after this date. Now the invitation took a little bit longer to leave the house than I planned, so it might seem like a short turnaround. So I know I might have some stragglers, but that's fine.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you this. I put it on mine too. I still had to nag. So it's just gonna, I think every bride probably has had.
Yeah.
That's the thing. There's just always gonna be people that don't listen, or generally just it leaves the back of their mind and they forget. I've also had people.
Everyone out there, RSVP ASAP.
And RSVP completely. Sometimes people get in a rush and they think that they hit save, or they go to fill out their card. They don't realize there's something on the back of the card. Like, just RSVP completely. Take a second. It's very helpful. But there's always going to be people that don't. Those are my people. Like, I mean, they are my people because they're coming to my wedding. But like, God.
Yeah.
I'm putting in all this work. Well, not really this week, but I was putting in all this work and to have stamina on the dance floor in my fabulous dress with all these people that I need to RSVP. And I don't really want to talk about my fitness journey because I feel slightly depressed about it, because I feel like because of COVID, my trainer wasn't really readily available to me. She did not have it, but her work situation got really messed with because somebody that she works with got COVID. And so it's been very unstable, like my workout schedule. So I've been spending a lot of time in my infrared sauna bed just so I feel like I'm doing something. But there really isn't, there's nothing exciting to report on that front.
That's allowed. That is okay. Yeah. Okay. You have a lot of stuff going on.
I do.
So, I think that's perfectly okay. And I mean, I feel the same way. I think, I don't know. It's been like a roller coaster of like, I'm going to do this. And then it's like, but do I really need to pay for a trainer right now? There's so many little details that those doll hairs could be going towards to impact other areas.
Right.
And so I'm just like, I mean, I teach a freaking dance fitness class. I can teach myself dance fitness. I can whip my own behind into shape. And so I kind of have like started to lean towards that side, because I'm like, there's other things that I'm like, I could actually like, there's other fun stuff that I could use that for towards wedding stuff.
Right.
And so I'm just like, listen, Pop Sugar got about 100,000 workouts on the interwebs, including dance fitness, which I've been doing, which is a lot of fun. But also there's my own class. My prep days for that class is just me doing doing dance fitness. So I'm like, I get my movement in, and I'm at this point, I'm just like, listen, I actually said it when I was in Florida for my bridal shower. I told my grandma and my aunts, I said, let me tell you something. As a matter of fact, now that I think about it, I should just keep this whole wagon that I'm dragging. I should keep it right there for that honeymoon, honey, because, and he keeps saying, he was like, oh, you gonna get plenty of cardio, so I don't think you need to pay for a trainer.
He
I'm
said,
like, listen, maybe I should keep it right there so that it's, it's ready. It's doing its job for the honeymoon. Doing its job.
look, I think that neither one of us is unhealthy or like drastically unhealthy or drastically unfit.
Yeah.
Like little tone up issues or whatnot. I just get frustrated with myself because I know that part of it too is like my struggle with consistency. And I'm like, we're just giving it in today, but oh wow.
I actually, I'm super excited to try it because I keep seeing it coming up on TikTok. It's like have you ever tried a fitness hula hoop?
I am mean with the hula hoop, but
I
I've
am
never
like
tried
a
to
hula
finish
hoop
one.
pro. Like
Yeah,
growing up, people used to freaking challenge me and I would always win. I
yeah.
keep that hula hoop up. And so when I saw that, I was like, I actually really love hula hooping, regardless of whether it's like a fitness hula hoop or anything. And so when I saw that, I was like, this is for me.
If
And
you think that, no.
it's designed to like, because it has, I think there's a little bit of extra weight on it.
Yeah.
So it's designed to obviously, like, but most of all, it like, it's a core workout, but it also is designed to kind of like cinch the waist. Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, oh, this is all up my alley, and
If
I'm
you
excited.
get it, let me know. I'm not buying it. I'm trying to picture what you're saying in my head, but I have never heard of that or seen that before. So if you get it, let me know how it works out because hula hooping takes me back.
Hula hooping is my jam. Speaking of jams, did you watch the Grammys last
No,
night?
I didn't. I mean, I watched what you do on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube the day after, and your stories. And that's how I want, like, your stories let me know that I forgot about the Grammys. So, I,
I actually always forget until like the day before, a week of. But the Grammys, like award shows growing up was like a huge deal in my house. Like we used to make an event of it, especially the Grammys. And of course, because I mean, like being a singer, aspiring performer, and all that, like the Grammys was always like a tears moment, and like just watching the performances, just everything. And it was actually really good. First of all, I think the decision to have what is his name hosting? What is his name?
I don't know. I didn't watch it.
I don't know. I didn't watch it. I'm gonna come back to that because I'm literally blanking on his name, but there's no reason for me to blank on his name.
What does he do?
He has a talk show. He's
Trevor
African.
Noah.
Yes, there we go. Trevor Noah, Trevor Noah hosted, and he was hilarious, but like just like the right amount of funny. Like he didn't like try to do a stand-up show, and things like just like moved right along pretty quickly. I mean, obviously, like my highlights was like my girl Megan. Megan won multiple things, and I'm pretty sure that she was a female rapper hasn't won in the best new artist category since Lauryn Hill in like 1999, and she took that home, which was a really big deal. And like I don't know, just like all the love for Megan last night was just like giving me all the feels. Beyonce herself, she actually broke the record last night for most Grammys won by like musical artists, I believe, or like
Saw that coming.
either female or male. And it was crazy, but it was so precious because the way that she didn't know that she was about, like she didn't, when she went up there to accept the award for what I think was record of the year or song of the year, one of those, with Megan for the remix of Savage. They were like about to get off the like come down the stairs, and Trevor Noah was like, wait, stop right there. You need to know that Beyonce just actually tied the like most Grammys won, whatever. And she was like, her face was like, what? And that was like so precious.
Yeah.
And then she ended up winning again. So at that point she had passed the record, which I was like, that was really cool in general. It was a pretty nice night. And my girl Cordy showed up. My girl Cardi showed up too.
I saw her outfit. I saw her.
You saw her.
I always see the outfits. Like even if I don't watch it, I pay attention to the outfits. I also saw the Blue Ivy one. That's so
Yeah,
cute.
that was cute too.
Baby's first Grammy. Only for Beyonce's daughter. Like baby's first Grammy.
Like I just can't fathom being a member of that family. Like that's a thing. Baby's first Grammy. Like it's just normal to be out here winning Grammys.
Before you're a teenager.
Like, right. Before you even in the double digits. Ain't she 9?
Something like that.
8 or 9, or I don't know. Is she double digits? I don't know. But I'm just blown away by the thought of that. Like that this little girl has a Grammy and that's like a normal thing in her life. Like what?
Yeah.
That is crazy to me. But one thing, I do have a bone to pick. I have a bone to pick with the world. And the fact that every time I blink my 2 big old eyes, it's somebody else they trying to cancel, it's somebody else they trying to pick a fight with or have beef with. Like today I was like reading like things and like people complaining about, oh, having Megan Thee Stallion performing, and like obviously like we all know like what the content of her songs or lyrics and stuff is about, but you have the choice to allow your kids to watch it. Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B never once ever said my music is for the kids. Never did they say that. So if you have your kids watching it, that's all you, baby. And before you tune into the Grammys as a family, you should probably look at the list of people who are going to be performing. It actually, they give you a whole synopsis in the beginning. They're like, these people are performing. And if you know what Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B are about, or like what their songs are, like stop it right now and stop trying to cancel anybody that you so please, and definitely don't come for my Black women. Okay, do not do it.
Well, I read an article that was about that. I read an article that was about that, and they were like, you know what? Let me find it because it said something about they like it was a Karen, you know, and she was basically like saying that they're out here trying to cancel Dr. Seuss and like making all these comparisons, like trying to cancel Dr. Seuss. And I don't want to hear it because then I look on the TV and you are allowing this, like, they called it trash.
And that's what I saw. And I'm like, Dr. Seuss is for kids.
But also, Dr. Seuss, one, was not being canceled. There's a difference between being canceled and a brand realizing or a company realizing that their previous artwork was racist and had racist depictions. And so to show that they are moving forward, they have discontinued the items that they used to sell that were filled with racist undertones and content. That is not canceling Dr. Seuss. That's Dr. Seuss deciding to move with the times and be like, we're going to pull our own books. Also, Dr. Seuss is dead. Nobody's canceling Dr. Seuss. He's dead. Okay? And I don't even think he has any living family members right now. It was a company decision for like the original Dr. Seuss's, not right. Like Horton and the Who, not The Grinch Stole Christmas, not all your classics. Your classics are fine.
Right. I just don't understand how they're related. That's the part where I'm just like, for you to sit there and write an article comparing the two is two complete different things. Because again, like, why is there such a double standard? And I think that a big part of it, to be honest, like as a Black woman who's been living this life for a long time, there is so much deep-rooted envy between the two groups, right? And a Karen will find she will be so quick. A Karen is quick to find a reason why a Black woman should be canceled, or find a reason, like white women don't understand where Black women get their confidence from, or like, how can Megan Thee Stallion be up there in that outfit and be crushing it and be boss and be killing it and winning Grammys? And, you know, of course you're going to feel a little bit of the green monster coming over you. Right. And that is a big part of how they like, so now we're reaching, right? You're reaching to find a reason why there's something wrong with Megan Thee Stallion being asked to perform at the Grammys and all this stuff. Like, but honey, we've been especially, let me tell you something. Karens love them some salt and pepper. Oh gosh, don't get them on the dance floor. Don't let a salt and pepper song play. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
don't let it happen. There's some stuff that they love all the lyrics of the stuff. They want to be down with it. But I'm confused. So why are we canceling Megan? Also, if we're gonna cancel Megan, if we're not gonna have her perform, if there's any reason she shouldn't perform the Grammys, then let's cancel every single rapper that there ever was, because men, both in all genres, have been talking about women's bodies from the beginning of time. So why is it there a problem with a woman talking about her own body?
Yeah. That's the thing though, is that like when people like that like feel uncomfortable for whatever their own reasons are, it's their own deep rooted insecurities. They reach and they grab false information. That's why I get annoyed. Like, I don't have time for you. Like, you're grabbing false information because the comparison isn't actually a comparison.
None.
But I saw that article, like, and I literally was like, what? Like, I don't even need to see the performance. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense, because our performance by two women, like, doing whatever they're doing on the stage and maybe dancing to like explicit lyrics is not the same as a company removing an item that's racist. Like, if the comparisons, just do your research, people, before you start flapping around, you know?
Team at all. There's no similarity. There's like not related at all. It's also, I'm like, you know, in some of the other things, it's like, these are things that were meant for kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so the finding out later that there's deep-rooted racism and sexism in these things that kids are consuming, it's made for kids, so parents are buying them for kids, and then finding out, like, realizing later that
this is not what I want to teach my child.
Completely different. You chose to tune in, honey. You chose to tune in to the Grammys. You chose to have your kid watching the Grammys when no one ever said that the Grammys didn't allow certain music to be performed. That has never been the case. So I don't know.
Also, like, it's so much easier to not spend your own money than it is to click a button on your remote. I'm just
100%.
I'm just
so tired of it. I'm tired of the canceling. I'm tired of the cancel culture. I'm tired.
I've been all about cancel culture this week. I'm just saying, this week I had so much drama, not my own, but like, I was watching drama, like daytime talk shows were giving me drama that you normally see like on Days of Our Lives or General Hospital. And I was like, for it. 100%. And it also, I've got a whole timeline, because I know you did not watch the Meghan and Harry interview with Oprah. That's fine. I'm gonna tell you everything you need to know. I watched it twice. And I watched all the series of interviews that happened afterwards discussing the interview that I watched twice. Okay? So, let's start at the beginning. All right. So, we go back to March 7th. It was a Sunday. It was just a glorious, fresh, nice weathered Sunday, you know, just like any other Sunday. And there was a 2-hour interview with Oprah and Meghan Markle and Harry. And first she met with Meghan and they talked for a while, and then Harry came out and they answered some questions. So, disclaimer, they were not paid for this. Everybody wanted to try and say later, when they're like trying to pick things apart and trying to throw shade, how much did they get paid for this? Whatever. They even said in there, and people fact check it, they were not paid for this interview. Okay? So they did this interview and they were just talking about like what made them want to leave the royal family. Did they actually want to leave the royal family, or were they pushed out? You know, why didn't she ever speak out before? They covered a lot of things. The highlights of what came out of this interview, though, was that they left because of a series of events. And a lot of these series of events happened while she was pregnant, which heightened everything for her, like really put things into perspective. But they were talking about taking away Archie's title, And the news portrayed it as though they didn't want the title, that they were saying that they didn't want Archie to have a title, and that they're saying is incorrect, that they were told he would not receive a title, which is different because all of Kate and William's children have titles, and every other child that's born to the royal family has some version of a title, right? So, but Archie's not going to have a title. And what comes with the title, I just stuttered. What comes with the title is security. So the baby is not going to have security because he doesn't have a title. Okay, well, we are living in a time where the news is just coming for Meghan like it's their only job in the world is to come for Meghan. And they showed all the comparisons between the way that they would talk about Kate and the way that they would talk about Meghan. How Meghan could do the exact same thing that Kate did, and they would be using racist undertones. They would call her a monkey. They would say that she was drawing attention, she was being aggressive, but Kate got this beautiful spin and all of these things. So that they were talking about the baby wasn't going to receive security, and that made them nervous because they didn't feel safe, and the baby's not going to have security. What is that? And then also, it comes to light that somebody in the royal family was concerned about how dark Archie would be when he was born. Now, first off, I don't know how you know, like a blending of colors, but the probability of that is super, super low. But
Yeah,
you're
I
still
saw
worried
that.
about
I
it,
was like, did you go to the same? Were you in science class where
right?
we talked about DNA? Because Megan is not even darker than a brown paper bag. So why would you even think?
But those conversations were being had. And amidst that, you know, with all the negative press and just kind of feeling like they were trying to communicate with the firm about their needs, and then their needs weren't being met, she started having a mental breakdown to the point where she had to tell Harry that she felt like she could not be left alone. She was scared to be left alone because she was feeling so much like a maybe it would be easier if I wasn't here type of feeling, like, you know, suicidal thoughts, that she had to tell her husband, I cannot be left alone. I don't think that's safe. You know, so they're reaching out for mental assistance for her too. Like she's wanting to be checked in somewhere. She's wanting to be going to a mental hospital or something to be able to get past those thoughts and deliver her baby because she's pregnant in a peaceful environment, in a secure, safe environment, all of which her requests were denied, unanswered, brushed over, glazed over, all of this. And so yeah, like that kind of environment continues to make them feel unsupported and unsafe, and so eventually they do leave. And all the reports that the queen was blindsided, she knew. She was not blindsided. That's what they're saying. And they also made it painfully clear, like they said numerous times, that the queen, both of them said they've never had an issue with the queen. That she's always been very grandmother like to Meghan, that like they talk to her still regularly. You know who they don't talk to? That Dick Charles, Daddy. They don't talk to Daddy because I guarantee you, this is what I'm saying, that Charles is the one asking because obviously he does not know simple math. You know, he couldn't even add up how to have one wife. He had to have one wife and a woman on the side. So I think it was Charles that totally said that. But then he also like was talking about how he doesn't really have much of a relationship with William at the time either. So they give this interview, which I thought was very tasteful, was very honest, and it honestly was almost annoying to me how painstakingly they tiptoed around questions to ensure that they did not throw any person under the bus. Because you coming for me when I'm pregnant and asking those kinds of questions and saying those kinds of things about my son and trying to take those things away from my son, the way that you give them so freely to every other person in this family, you best believe I'll be throwing you under the bus the first moment I get, I will be throwing you under the bus. So the fact that they were making it clear that like the queen was wonderful, and Harry was like, I will never say who I had that conversation with, but I will, yes, I did have that conversation. And I was shocked in the moment that I was being asked those questions. I thought was very like higher ground, like high road of them. So this was on that beautiful Sunday, right? Cue Monday. Oh, it gets heavy. Okay, Pierce Morgan. You know who Pierce Morgan is?
Yeah.
Okay, so he is the host, one of the hosts of Good Morning Britain, and he basically says that he does not believe, especially in pertaining to her when she's speaking about her suicidal thoughts and like her mental breakdown, that he does not believe a word out of her mouth. And I just don't understand how you can say that about anybody because you don't know their experience. And especially because the royal family has put so much initiative into mental health care over the past decade or so. It's kind of like you're holding them on a pedestal over here and you're trying to say that they're being disrespected by this interview, but then you're basically stepping all over everything that they stand for when it comes to mental health by saying that you don't believe anything she says. And there was a couple of co-hosts that were on that day who had the time. And so they read him his rights. And he tried to overstep. He tried. They were ready that day, you know? They were ready that day. But what gets me, this is the one. So Q Tuesday, so that was Monday. Q Tuesday, Good Morning Britain is still talking about it. And I'm gonna read you verbatim what homie said because he had time. So the weatherman, okay? The weatherman had time on Tuesday. So they're talking about it again because, on social media, Piers Morgan is getting a lot of heat for saying what he said. So on Tuesday, Alex Bressford, who's the weatherman, says that is absolutely diabolical behavior. And then he proceeds to say, I understand that you don't like Meghan Markle. You've made it so clear a number of times on this program. And I understand that you've got a personal relationship with Meghan Markle, or had one, and she cut you off. She's entitled to cut you off if she wants to. Has she said anything about you since she's cut you off? I don't think she has, but yet you continue to trash her. To which he could not handle. Pierce could not handle it being brought up again that he had gone on a date with Meghan and Meghan left that date not knowing it was a date, met Harry, married Harry, and has not returned your phone calls since. He couldn't handle it, so he walked off.
Like a big old baby.
He walked off. And he got a choice. This is where I get annoyed with cancel culture, right? So people are like, oh, you shouldn't be canceling Piers Morgan because freedom of speech and whatever. And he's saying, I won't be canceled. Freedom of speech. I believe in freedom of speech. You weren't canceled, sir. You had an option. You walked off your set and your program said to you, you can go back or you can leave. And you chose to leave.
Yeah.
It was your choice. You were not canceled. This was your choice. You exactly. You did this to yourself. So then you would think that would be the highlight of the week. But then, good old America. No, it's not the highlight of the week because then on Wednesday, we're halfway through. Hump Day came through and put a hump in it. On Hump Day, on the talk, Sharon Osbourne, who is British, right, had tweeted the night before that she stands with Piers Morgan, which is a blanket statement. Like, what do you stand with? Like, you can support a friend and absolutely disagree with everything that they say. If you're clear. If you're clear. I don't agree with everything that all of my friends do all of the time. I don't agree with everything my partner does all the time, but I stand with my partner. But it's very clear what I agree with and what I don't agree with. I would never say like a blanket statement. So she does, and her co-host Cheryl Underwood tried to get her to elaborate on that because she didn't want it to be misconstrued how like it easily could be. When you say blanket statements on social media, people can run with that in whatever direction. And she basically was like, I don't see you in that way. So I would say, what would you say to somebody who reads a blanket statement on social media? Like, how would you elaborate on that so they understood what you're trying to say? Because I think you're trying to say more than, I stand with him. Because I don't think you stand with everything that he's doing or everything that he's saying. And she took the Karen way out. She said, you are calling me a racist, which Cheryl Underwood never said. She said, you're putting me like up to be canceled, which she never did. She started crying. Then she looked at Cheryl, who looked completely uncomfortable, but was the most poised because even then, the Black women on that show understood that for them to come out of this on the higher end, they had to sit there while she was raving like a lunatic off things they never said and stay calm and collected. Otherwise, the media would run with that and say they were angry black women who attacked Sharon Osbourne, this sweet little old British white woman, right? So they're sitting there and they're taking it. She looks very uncomfortable. And I kid you not, Asha, she pointed her finger at Cheryl Underwood and said, "You shouldn't be crying. If anybody should be crying, it should be me. I'm the victim here." And I was like, oh, Lord. On daytime TV, you just came out yourself and showed all your racist colors. So now they're not even really like filming the talk right now because Ellen Weltroth. I don't want to pronounce that wrong because she's amazing. She used to be the editor of Teen Vogue, but now she's a co-host on there. She hasn't been there very long. She ain't got time either. And she had time over the weekend to make sure that the program knew that she felt like it was an unstable environment and that there was plenty of different little remarks and things here and there that were racist and it needs to be investigated. So the talk is under investigation, all because of the tea that was spilled on Sunday.
I can't. I can't. With the white tears, I can't. I can't do it.
Actual, I didn't never in a
Like,
million.
literally white tears.
I never would have. I couldn't have anticipated.
Piers Morgan, a grown bleep man, stormed off. I could not believe the way that he stormed off the freaking set. Like,
not on my show. Not on my show.
Adult. You're a grown adult. Let's please get a grip. Let's get a grip. And like, I can't. And then Sharon, I can't with her. But also, like, I've never viewed her as a stable person. I've never. She's also said many things over the years that are like definitely like bias. Like, she's said many things that show that she has bias and preferences and all that stuff, and it's not cute. And so when it comes to Sharon Osbourne, I am not surprised in any way, shape, or form. But I just can't.
I remember when she said that Meghan Markle wasn't even black. I remember that. So I thought to myself when I was watching it, I thought to myself that Cheryl Underwood was really working overtime to give her a pass. Because to be prefacing all of your statements with, you know, I don't know you to be racist, I like all of that, to try to be clear that that's not what your intention was, I think really she was just trying to get her to elaborate and just kind of say, you know, that's my friend and I support him and his right to freedom of speech. However, that does not mean that I support what he said, and or that doesn't mean that he shouldn't be accountable. Like, yes, I agree you should have freedom of speech, but when you speak, you can be held accountable for what you say. And she just wanted her to clarify. And Meghan McCain, who's pretty controversial herself on The View, clarified pretty much like that. And there was no ruffled feathers because they weren't expecting her to be like, you know, 100% in Meghan's corner, but she was when it came to the mental health, you know, and she was quick to be like, I don't agree with anything he said when it came to that. But I do agree with freedom of speech and this and this and that. So I find it hard to know exactly how to react to this. At least you're being honest, right?
Bottom line is that freedom of speech doesn't have anything to do with it. He's not being canceled because of we have a problem with the fact that he said what he said. He's being canceled because he behaved like a little child who doesn't listen, who cannot hear an opinion that's different from his own without kicking and screaming. Because when that Black woman was sitting there reading him his rights, okay, he was literally trying to speak over her. She could not finish. She kept having to reclaim her time and say, I'm not done, I'm not finished. And I'm like, why? Like, but that's why you're being canceled. There's plenty of people who are not canceled who have all kinds of ideas and stuff about people, and they just don't prefer somebody, or maybe they have an issue or have a personal relationship that didn't go right. Everybody doesn't get canceled. It's the way that you behave as a grown man who is kicking and screaming and acting like a baby because someone is saying that these are my thoughts on what you just said.
Yeah.
B, what you're saying actually has bias undertone. Like it like the fact of the matter, the person stating facts. The fact of the matter is that this is racist behavior. What you're saying is racist. Now, if you disagree, that's like if you think you're not racist, that is one thing. But it's a fact. Like what you're saying
Right.
is that. So you just need to just take that, or you can keep arguing. That's fine. But storming off of set, like, come on.
That's the thing. The whole thing was just like, I hope that people are paying attention because you've got prime examples of the mislabeling of canceling, like what it is to be canceled. Because Piers Morgan wasn't canceled. He made that decision himself. And nothing was taken away from him. He chose to walk away from it while screaming in tantrum form. Also, it's accountability. There's a difference between being canceled and being held accountable. I think that like people think because you want to run around and say whatever you want to say that that is freedom of speech and there's no accountability that comes with your words. So that's not the case. You can say whatever you want to say, but people also are free to say what they want to say in response to that. And if you do have undertones of racist behavior, if you do have undertones of misogynistic behavior, if you do have undertones of like white supremacist behavior in what you're saying, there may be accountability that follows as well. That's not canceling. That's not taking your shit.
Yep. Just like how the exact like subject matter, you don't like this person. Okay, as a result of what you're saying, we don't like you. It's simple. Oh. You have the choice to not like them, and we have the choice to not like that. So I just, and
that's the thing too. And with Sharon Osbourne, and she's saying that she's basically being put up on the block to be canceled by the mere accusation, the accusation that never came, is accountability. You're panicking, and in your panic, you're showing some of your true biases, and people are seeing that. And because you're showing some of your true biases, people are investigating now because they're wondering like what other things may have been missed, what other things have we swept under the rug, and maybe CBS should have done a better job. Maybe the first time you made a comment, maybe the first time that you said that you thought that Holly Pete or Leah Remini was too ghetto for your show, and then subsequently they weren't really there too much longer afterwards. Maybe CBS should have done a better job, but now they are because you came out and you're being held accountable for what you said. It's not cancel culture. I feel like I always go back to like Kevin Hart, right? Like I feel like when that happened to Kevin Hart, where he was being held accountable for things that he said years ago in a comedy skit that he had apologized for numerously, like I felt like that was like an attempt to cancel because he had already changed his ways. He had already tried to remedy that situation, and he had never once denied his wrong in that. And he continually apologized till he got to the point where he felt, what else can I apologize for? This is 10, 15 years ago. You know, I've already done my penance essentially for this, and I continue to do better from that because I understand the wrong in that. So when you persist on that man for something that he did and has already tried to right, that I feel is an attempt to cancel someone. That I don't agree with, but being held accountable, and maybe you lose some of your endorsements or your programs or your employment because you're being held accountable. Maybe you should have been held accountable years prior so you would have gotten the lesson and you wouldn't be where you're sitting right now.
Yep.
You know? Facts. But I was here for it. What you're talking about when she was like, "I'm not done. I'm not done." I was like, it was I'm speaking all over again. Oh, I was like, tell us.
It was yeah. She was like, "I'm not done. Stop talking." I was like, "Get it, girl. Get it." Okay. I love that for her. I love that for her.
I wonder if Michelle is sending her a shirt. That's an idea. She should send her a shirt.
Ooh, she really should. Yes. That would be dope. I love that. She needs to do that. Maybe we should message her and say that. I think I think we're connected
She's
with her.
probably already on it because she's
Yeah.
smart, business savvy. But she's our shout out of the day. You want to tell everybody our shout out of the day?
Our shout out of the day goes to Yes I Am Inc., owned by Michelle, who we love. She had a really, really big moment. This actually, while I was watching the Grammys, one of the Grammys commercials was the partnership with MasterCard and Jennifer Hudson, highlighting small businesses. And our girl Michelle was on there. Yes, yes, yes. She is the owner of Yes I Am Inc. She is also a co-owner of The Spot NYC, which is a collective of black-owned businesses here in New York, actually. And Kiki's shirt, sweater, representing. She has a really, really great merch. I'm obsessed. Jay had actually featured her on her Instagram, I think it was yesterday as well, of her wearing one of her sweatshirts, which
I think it's Queen empowers or empower Queen.
Empower Queens, or it's something. I think it was Queen. I think it's Queens Empower Queens. But yeah, her merch is dope. It's really dope. Y'all need to check her out. She's doing big things. I mean, a commercial during the Grammys is like, it's serious. Like this, it's serious. And the partnership and being highlighted with the MasterCard partnership, all of that, super, super dope. She's dope. Love her. Love that for her. Check her out at Yes I Am Inc. on Insta.
Yeah, and you can find all the rest of her links for all of the many pots that she's got cooking at the same time when you go there. But we love her. But I know what I'm doing this week, and I can't really talk about it a lot. But what I can say is that once your party is over, I can share what I've been keeping a lid on. And I think that it would be really helpful to other people who are looking for ideas for bridal showers and to kind of see how you go from deciding you're throwing a bridal shower to the bridal shower. There's a lot. So I'll be able to share after starting Sunday because it'll be over. But what about you? What do you got coming up?
You know, the usual. Follow me on Insta. Get Ready With Me is every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Bringing the heat, the drip. Okay.
Today's suit was life.
Kids are saying nowadays, the drip. Comedy Tuesdays and Thursdays. Got some clothing hauls coming. And we're I think we're like literally officially in the 3-month countdown to my nuptials with my man. Okay. So we're definitely going to have some couples content coming at you. It got delayed because, like I said, he had COVID, so couldn't do anything with each other. But yeah, coming super soon.
I'm excited for it. It's going to be a busy week, and it's going to be an amazing party on the weekend.
I'm just going to stop saying a busy week. It's
because I'm taking it week by week. I mentally can't handle. I can't handle thinking about it in month blocks. I can't do it. Can't do it.
Whatever helps you sleep at night.
I don't sleep. No, but we will have all that to share with you guys, and we'll be back in 2 weeks to check in. So until then, bye.
Bye.